In the heart of the Egyptian desert, where the wind moves like a whisper across endless waves of sand, three colossal shapes rise against the horizon. They have stood there for more than 4,000 years. Empires have risen and fallen in their shadow. Wars have been fought, religions have spread, civilizations have collapsed, and still, they remain. We call them the pyramids. We are told they are tombs. We are told they were built by ancient hands using simple tools. We are told the mystery has been solved. But if that is true, why do so many questions still remain? The largest of them all, the Great Pyramid, towers with an authority that feels almost unnatural. When it was first completed, it stood at nearly 481 feet tall, covered in smooth white limestone casing stones that reflected the sun so brightly it must have looked like a second sunrise in the desert. Today, the outer casing is mostly gone, but the core structure remains a mountain of stone assembled with a precision that challenges belief. It contains around 2.3 million blocks. 2.3 million. If you tried to place one block every 2 minutes, working without stopping day or night, it would still take decades to complete. Some of those stones weigh 2 to 15 tons. Others, deep within the structure, weigh as much as 70 tons. 70 tons lifted and positioned with remarkable accuracy. Even today, moving a 70-ton granite block requires heavy machinery, steel cables, hydraulic systems, and careful engineering calculations. Yet, thousands of years ago, these stones were transported from quarries hundreds of miles away and fitted into place so precisely that in some joints, you cannot slide a thin blade between them. How? The traditional explanation tells us that workers used copper tools to cut limestone blocks from nearby quarries. Granite was shaped using pounding stones. Massive ramps were constructed, and the stones were dragged upward on sledges using ropes. It sounds reasonable at first, until you begin to calculate the scale. To complete the Great Pyramid within the reign of a single pharaoh, roughly 20 years, workers would need to position an average of one large stone every 2 to 3 minutes, not just during the day, continuously, with no long pauses, no massive structural failures, no logistical breakdowns. That is industrial level efficiency. That is organization at a level rivaling modern construction sites. Who coordinated this? Who measured the angles? Who ensured the base was level to within a fraction of an inch across acres of desert? The base of the Great Pyramid is astonishingly flat. Its sides align almost perfectly with the 4 cardinal directions north, south, east, and west. Not magnetic north, true north. The difference is subtle but significant. True north requires astronomical observation and an understanding of Earth's rotational axis. How did ancient builders achieve such alignment without compasses as we know them? Without satellites, without digital instruments? Some researchers suggest they used the stars. By observing circumpolar stars, those that never set below the horizon, they could determine true north with impressive accuracy. But doing so requires patience, skill, and deep knowledge of the night sky. Which raises another question: why such precision? If these were merely tombs, why align them with cosmic exactness? Inside the pyramid, narrow shafts extend from chambers deep within the structure. Some of these shafts appear to align with specific stars, as they would have appeared around 2500 BCE. The alignment is not random. It corresponds to celestial bodies that were significant in ancient Egyptian cosmology. The 3 main pyramids on the Giza plateau also appear to mirror the 3 belt stars of the constellation Orion. Orion was associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife. Is it coincidence? Or was the layout deliberately designed to reflect the heavens? Across cultures and continents, ancient civilizations looked to the stars. They built temples aligned with solstices, they tracked planetary motion, they encoded astronomical events into stone architecture. But the pyramids feel different. Their scale is overwhelming, their geometry is refined, their symbolism seems layered. The proportions of the Great Pyramid reveal intriguing mathematical relationships. If you take the perimeter of its base and divide it by twice its height, you get a number strikingly close to pi, the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. The structure also reflects aspects of the golden ratio, a mathematical constant found in nature, art, and architecture throughout history. Did the builders intentionally encode these values, or are we projecting modern mathematics onto ancient design? If intentional, it implies knowledge of advanced geometry. If coincidence, it is a remarkably persistent one. Then there is the problem of the ramps. To drag massive stones to the upper levels, a ramp would have been necessary. but a straight ramp long enough and gradual enough to reach the top would have required more material than the pyramid itself. A spiral ramp wrapping around the structure presents other engineering complications. An internal ramp has been proposed, but definitive archaeological evidence remains limited. Every ramp theory solves part of the puzzle while creating new challenges. And what of the stone cutting? Granite, used in key chambers within the pyramid, is extremely hard, far harder than copper. Yet drill marks found in some granite cores suggest high-speed rotary drilling. The smoothness of certain surfaces appears almost machined. Experiments have shown that granite can be shaped using copper tools combined with abrasive sand. It is possible, but the time required is enormous. The precision achieved is astonishing. Were ancient craftsmen simply far more patient, disciplined, and skilled than we imagine? Have we underestimated their capabilities because we measure them against modern assumptions? For centuries, a common belief held that slaves built the pyramids. That narrative has largely been overturned. Excavations near Giza have uncovered workers' villages with evidence of organized labor, adequate nutrition, and medical care. These were not enslaved masses driven to death. They were skilled laborers, engineers, and craftsmen working in rotating crews. They were fed well, they had housing, they left graffiti marks inside hidden chambers, crew names like Friends of Khufu. These were not nameless victims, they were participants in something monumental. And still, the question lingers, why? Why commit such immense national resources to a single structure? Why invest decades of manpower into something so massive and so mathematically precise? The internal structure of the Great Pyramid is more complex than one might expect for a tomb. The King's Chamber is built entirely of granite. Above it are relieving chambers designed to distribute weight and prevent collapse. The design shows careful planning to handle immense pressure. The King's Chamber also exhibits unusual acoustic properties. Certain frequencies resonate powerfully within the space. Some researchers propose that the pyramid may have been designed with sound resonance in mind. This idea moves into controversial territory, but the acoustic effects are measurable. Was it symbolic, ritualistic, or purely structural? Curiously, when the Great Pyramid was opened, no richly adorned mummy was found inside. No elaborate treasure comparable to other Egyptian tombs. Some argue it was looted in antiquity. Others question whether it was ever primarily intended as a burial site at all. Ancient texts refer to the pyramids as places of ascension, gateways to the afterlife, structures connected to the transformation of the king into a divine being. In that worldview, perhaps the pyramid was not merely a container for a body, but a machine of symbolism, a cosmic staircase encoded in stone. Outside Egypt, pyramids appear across the globe. In Mesoamerica, stepped pyramids rise above jungle canopies. In Sudan, smaller but numerous pyramids mark ancient burial grounds. In China, large pyramid-like mounds exist, many still unexcavated. The design is not identical, but the concept is strikingly widespread. Why did multiple civilizations independently choose pyramid shapes? Structurally, the pyramid is stable. It distributes weight downward efficiently. It is a logical choice if building tall with stone. But the symbolic meaning may be just as important. A pyramid points upward. It connects earth and sky. It embodies permanence. And permanence may be the key. The pyramids were built to last. Not for decades, not for centuries, but for millennia. They have survived earthquakes, invasions, erosion, and time itself. Their builders understood something about durability. They selected locations above flood levels. They leveled foundations with extraordinary care. They engineered internal stress relief systems. They were thinking long-term. As we stand in the modern world, surrounded by steel and glass structures that may not last 500 years, the pyramids remind us that ancient ambition was vast. So were they built with simple tools? Yes, if by simple we mean non-electric, non-digital, human-powered. But simple does not mean primitive. A copper chisel in skilled hands can produce astonishing results. A rope and sled system, combined with lubrication and coordinated manpower, can move massive stones. Astronomical observation without telescopes can still yield precise alignment through patience and repetition. Perhaps the true mystery is not that ancient people possessed lost super technology. Perhaps the mystery is that we struggle to accept that human beings thousands of years ago were just as intelligent, just as determined, and just as capable of brilliance as we are.
Knowledge accumulates. It is preserved. It is also lost. Libraries burn, civilizations collapse, techniques disappear when societies fragment. The pyramids stand at the edge of recorded history, at a time when writing itself was still emerging. What knowledge preceded them? What experiments failed before this success? What architectural attempts have eroded into dust, leaving only the perfected form behind? We see the finished masterpiece. We rarely see the centuries of trial and error that may have led to it. The desert keeps its secrets well. At sunrise, the pyramids glow golden. At sunset, they cast long shadows across the sand. At night, under a sky filled with stars much like those seen by their builders, they feel less like relics and more like messages. Messages carved in geometry. Messages aligned with the cosmos. Messages reminding us that history is deeper than textbooks can fully capture. Whether built as tombs, temples, cosmic symbols, or monumental expressions of power, the pyramids force us to confront a humbling truth. The ancient world was not simple. It was complex. It was intelligent. It was ambitious. And it was capable of achieving feats that still inspire awe thousands of years later. The mystery of the pyramids is not merely about stones stacked in the desert. It is about human potential. It is about what we can accomplish when vision, belief, and organization converge. They do not just challenge our understanding of the past. They challenge our assumptions about ourselves. And as long as they stand against the horizon, silent and unyielding, they will continue to ask a question that echoes across time. If they could do this, what else did they know?